Thank you guys for being here today. This is a very exciting thing to be able to hear your perspective on issues happening in Donora. So why don't we start out with, you can kind of introduce yourself and what are 3 things that you love about Donora? Whichever one of you wants to start.
Sure, I'm the new person, so. I'm Joshua Lamb. I moved to Donora about 8 years ago. I'm originally from Florida. I grew up in Southwest Florida. I moved to the city of St. Petersburg, where I became a homeowner in a dilapidated, crime-infested neighborhood. I worked with the historic Kenwood Neighborhood Association, which is a volunteer association, to redevelop the, Kenwood to become the place to be in the city of St. Petersburg. I know with hard work and just a little forethought and ideas, we could do the same type of rejuvenation that happened in Kenwood to Donora. We could bring business back and we could make Donora the place that everybody would like to live in the Mon Valley. Sorry. Oh, okay. You're right. 3 things, yes. For what I like about Donora, one, my main attraction to this area was the river. I love being so close to the water, especially being from the south. The history of this town ended up captivating me, where I really got involved in the history and how far it went back, which is absolutely fascinating. You know, Donora has a small town feel to it, but it still has a little bit feel too that makes it reminiscent to me from living in a bigger town. The people of Donora, I found them to be very dynamic. I found them to be very interesting. You have everybody from business professionals to factory workers, and the just listening to everyone talk and share the way things were here and the way things can be is definitely something that I honor in the local people here. You know, I see what Donora can be because I've seen what happened in Kenwood. So, and I know that we can do that here as well.
Well, my name is Gilbert Zackel Jr. I'm running for re-election on the Donora Borough Council. I previously served 4 years. I was reappointed in June of last year, so I got about roughly 5.5 years experience on council. In that time, I held council president. I was chair of public safety, chair of finance. So I've pretty much been involved in all aspects of government in Donora. I'm a single dad. I have 2 beautiful girls, 17 Isabella and 14 Gabriella. My oldest is getting ready to go do veterinary medicine next year in college. I'm a superintendent for local Carpenters Union, Local 274. I'm a campus pastor at Pillar Faith Church, Mon Valley campus located in Fayette City. I run a addiction recovery program. I run Scarves on Main Street program downtown Donora. I pretty much try to get involved in any community events or anything I can do to help people out in Donora. I'm a 4th generation Donorian. My great-grandfather, Bernardo DeSanza, died in the smog of Donora on 3rd Street. So my family has been in Donora for generations. My kids are now the 5th generation of my family to live in Donora. So my roots are in Donora. That's for sure. 3 things I love about Donora. First is the people. I love the people of Donora. They're good, hard-working, blue-collar people. I've had people when I was cutting grass who haven't been in Donora since 1974 who have reached out to me and tell me how much they still love Donora. To me, that says something about the people in this area. Number 2, I think we have a great location. I think demographic-wise, we aren't far from major highways, from 43, from 70. I think that's a great advantage that we have to bring businesses, industrial businesses, with rail yard. We have river access. I think we have a great location. And a fun fact is we have the most riverfront property in Washington County is right here in Donora. The third thing I like is it's affordable living. It's a great place for young families with young kids who could come and live affordable. They don't have to live beyond their means and live paycheck to paycheck, which a lot of Americans got to struggle with now today. I think it's a place where the taxes are a little bit high, but it's still an affordable place to live, and it's great for young families.
Next question is, what are your plans to support local businesses and promote economic growth in Donora?
I would like to see the downtown district labeled as more of a business corridor. If we could try to get some type of tax break incentive for any businesses to actually who are either here or coming here, that would be a great way to help redevelop the downtown. A lot of the buildings currently are mixed use between residential and commercial. I think it would be for landlords to be able to take that same tax incentive, there would have to be a business in their building. You know, it needs to be specific that way. So that way they're able. And I think that they should have to qualify for that too. It should have to be like a yearly application to be able to take that credit. And I know we can't do it on the county level, but we could do it on the borough level, you know, for the property tax to give them a break to try to get business in downtown. You know, I also think that the traffic is routed around downtown. And we need to try to address that. We need to either make the streets bi-directional again or try to get some of the flow of traffic to go back through, because no one's going to shop in downtown if they're just bypassing it. You know, that would be the first thing for like getting that. But I mean, businesses will exceed outside downtown too. You know, it would be nice if we could even label part of Donora or even all of Donora as like an artist enclave, where we could give them special disposition where they're able to run small businesses for like artisans from their home without needing proper business permits. You know, a number of other communities have done this and it has totally made a difference. That would be another good way to get local business back into Donora. I don't see Donora right now being a hub for big commercial properties. But we can definitely make a niche for small businesses, and we should. You know, we're basically, as Bell Vernon grows, we will be sucked into that as like a suburb, but, you know, we can still create a very unique Donora that attracts people.
Not to piggyback, but the tax thing is definitely a great idea. And I'm not saying we can or we can't, I don't know, but it would never hurt to go to the county and ask them, can you help us on an idea like that? I think that's a great idea. But what we can do to help support businesses, one is we have to do our due diligence. We can't have businesses coming into town where we got weeds growing up through the sidewalks. We got busted sidewalks growing up. We got dilapidated buildings. The council has to take responsibility, enforce the ordinances that we already have on record to make sure that we're cleaning up our downtown. It looks good. Run the street sweeper through it. I mean, it sounds basic stuff, but it's stuff that needs to be done. When I come into town, I want to know it looks presentable. You want me to bring my business here? It looks presentable. Two is we need to get established with the Chamber of Commerce. The couple businesses we do have, I've had a couple of talks with the Monongahela Chamber of Commerce. They'll gladly take people on. We need that separate entity other than council to come in and to help lure other businesses into the district, into the town. We need something like that to where they could say, hey, we got a couple established here. We're working with Monongahela. We're trying to do better and get that brought in. But we got to get on these landlords, though, to keep these properties up to code. That's the main thing we got to do. You don't want to have a beautiful building in town and the one next to you is falling apart. And I'm not one to say, let's stick code down their throats so they pay us money. It ain't about money. We want them to comply. Bring your stuff up to code. And if worst comes to worst, if we start to put some pressure on them with the codes, maybe they'll sell to somebody who does want to fix the place up, somebody who does want to invest money. And that just is all around beneficial to everybody because then that takes property value up, tax revenue up, and it just benefits Donora as a whole.
Some residents are concerned about sidewalk safety in town. How do you plan to help address the sidewalks?
All right, sidewalks become a little bit of an issue because some sidewalks are owned by the borough itself. Others, and most of them, are owned by the actual property owners. There are different things that can be done. I mean, the first one would be the average city way of doing something, which is that you would have code enforcement get involved and then try to hold the property owner into compliance. Okay, of course, that's going to build resentment by doing that. Okay, the next option would be that the city actually, for the ones that are really bad, the borough would come in and actually replace the sidewalks and then just put a lien on their property. But again, that's not exactly going to win anyone over. The only other option I think you can do is be a little bit more creative with the sidewalks. Try to maybe give an incentive for the ones that are really bad, for like the owners, to an easier way to get rid of the old concrete, but then allow different sidewalk materials be used. Concrete's very expensive right now. So even using paver blocks, a number of cities have actually done this. Even St. Petersburg, where I'm from, they use hex block for their sidewalks that they've had in place since the 1921. They're still used every day to this day. So other options, asphalt, even using maybe a thin set over the existing sidewalk, anything to make it better. But that's pretty much all you can do. The borough can't really go in and just replace sidewalks on private property. It's just not an option. It's a whole legal nightmare if you try doing that. So pretty much that's about all can really be done for sidewalks. And with any luck, there's enough abandoned brick all over town. We can definitely use some of that to lay a new sidewalk somewhere.
Yeah, I don't want to beat code up all day, but that is definitely one of the ways we can do it. But there's also other avenues that we can take, especially for older people in the senior center. It's called community block grant development money we get every year from the county. This year it's roughly $281,000. $181,000 we could allocate to whatever we want. $100,000 goes to redevelopment in your home. So if you're on a fixed income and you're tight on money, you have every right to go to the county, put in a reservation for that money and say, hey, I need this, and this fixed. And then we'll give you a list of contractors you have if you need a new roof, if you need new siding. We have $100,000 of that we get every year. I don't even know the fact, but I guarantee that all doesn't get used up every year. That's an avenue that residents can take by themselves if they know that money's available. That's one way. And two ways is the borough could help out sometimes too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying we could go around and fix individual sidewalks, but I know that we could go out and reach out to the state and get grant money, get federal money, that we should be able to get the business district sidewalks redone. Now, we could use some of that CDGB money for it, but when we use the money, Davis-Bacon Act kicks in. So we have to pay a prevailing rate for sidewalk, and that sidewalk gets expensive. So it's harder for us to do it, but if individuals could do it on their own, or we can branch just for that money, the separate allocate, because that CDGB money we sometimes use it for recreation, we use it to pave streets, we use it for a couple of different things. But those are a couple of ideas that I have, but once again, that we got to make sure people are maintaining their own sidewalks. They're responsible for their sidewalk. We're not responsible as a borough for any public sidewalks. So we have to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do, but we're supposed to be there to help as well.
How will you make the decisions of the town council more transparent and accountable to the residents?
Okay. For myself, this is a little easier because I actually host my own web server. So anything that I do, I can actually just post there and make transparent. There's also ways to connect with me via either the phone number or email or sending me a message to there. As far as the council or the borough itself, I believe any major changes for transparency will probably have to be voted on by council for how they do different things. But I would love to see some services be more transparent, which are very easy to do. Like, for example, E-Code 360, which a number of municipalities use, is a great way to make the borough laws transparent. And it's just a monthly fee. And granted, it's like, it doesn't have to be that particular service, but even if we had a database like that, it would be so much easier for the residents of Donora. I would like to see the budget more transparent. I like to see, like other municipalities always listed on their own website, what are the budget stats? Where are we? Are we over? Are we under? What's being spent? That would be nice if our website did that as well. And of course, if for example, if I get on council, then a lot of questions get to me. Well, why did they vote like that? I would always list on my own website why I voted a particular way. So that way there are no questions to why that decision was made. And that's pretty much what I think for that. Yep.
This is one thing I think is very important for government, is transparency. The problem we have at the borough is we've had such a turnover of personnel in the office, administrators, secretaries, bookkeepers. The turnover has been a lot. So they're always behind the gun down there. trying to get caught up on everything is, but we need to make better use of our programs that we have. We have a web page and we have a Facebook page. We should be posting way more on that to let people know what's going on. Once we put it out, everybody like us is going to share it and then put it out. I'd rather see it on the borough page instead of putting it on my own personal page. That's how I would rather see it done, because transparency is key. Another thing that we're doing is we're codifying our ordinances down there. We got a grant from the DCED. So coming up here very shortly as they get done is you'll be able to go on the borough webpage and pick out any ordinance that the borough has. You'll be able to click on it. If it's for garbage, if it's for blighted properties, whatever, every ordinance that Donora has, you'll be able to go right on the page and he'll say, hey, go to ordinance 1374. You'll be able to go right there and read the ordinance. So when we're trying to enforce an ordinance, or you're trying to tell people, they'll be able to go right on the website. And that's an easy way for more transparency. So I'm telling you, we have an ordinance and you've never seen it. So how do you know? I'm not just telling you. No, go there, look at it, you'll find it. But I think transparency is key to really get the people involved so they know exactly what's going on at all times.
What do you consider to be the top 3 issues that Donora faces? And if elected, how will you address those issues?
The top issue for Donora that I feel is actually branding and development. We need to get Donora in a positive light. Sadly, right now, especially among our surrounding areas, we do have sort of a less than good reputation, which is not necessarily deserved, but it is the way it's looked at. So we need to be able to get Donora in a better light. I think we want to attract business, so you attract business by basically having a tough on crime type mentality, because you want people to feel safe. They have to be able to come into Donora. They have to be able to feel safe. You want people to take a chance in starting a business and starting a family here. Being safe is crucial to that. I think promotions, there's an easy way to create other promotions. It would be, I don't think Donora currently has like a sister city type cross promotion. That is a great way to get into, of getting the name of Donora into a different area. To have like a sister city where you cross promotion between the two, and that a great way to drum up new business. I would like to see also an easier way for people to fix, to redevelop and fix up their own properties. One of the things we did down south is we had to use chemical trading posts where slightly used paint and other building materials were just in basically like a little warehouse, and any resident could go and take whatever they needed to fix up their property. So that was a really good way of getting stuff done. Also, one of the other things the city did is that they would collect the horticulture and grind it into mulch for people. And then they could just go shovel it in and use it in your gardens, and that was a great way to beautify the streets. So those type of programs are already in place in other cities, and they're very functional. But that's the main ones, like safety. And getting people more involved. For blight, my next one would be blight and decay. There are a number of ways to address that. Mainly, it's going after people who haven't paid taxes in a long time. 5 years is enough. If you haven't paid taxes in 5 years, I'm sorry, you need your house foreclosed at that point. That's what every other modern city does. If you're in Georgia, if you're in New York, if you're in Florida, if you're in Alabama, if you don't pay taxes in 5 years, they sue you and they take your house. And then it gets auctioned off and the money gets used to take whatever, to refund whatever it costs them legally to get your building. And then that house gets restored on the tax rolls. It needs to be that way here. And I know I've heard a number of times, well, that's not the way Pennsylvania does it. I get that, but that's the way modern civilization works. It needs to be that way. And we need to hold people accountable. Like when it comes to we need to hold them accountable, especially if they are delinquent or if their property is out of code. It's only way. If we're going to redevelop the town and rebrand the town, then it has to be a group effort among all citizens and businesses who are here. So we want to ensure that code enforcement's being done. We want to, for safety, going back to that, we need more officers in that. It just goes without saying. I think right now we have a very minimal staff of officers, and that's not really, it's not functional in modern day, where anything could happen. A single officer is just dangerous. We want, so that needs to be addressed. And I believe it is being addressed currently, actually. I think that's it for me. Right?
There was three issues we face, right?
That's right.
Well, one is the lack of business in Donora. I think that's the biggest issue that we face. It's the way our demographics is set up in town. We talk about other towns. If you drive through Charleroi, you drive directly through their business district. You drive to Monongahela, you drive directly through their business district. You drive to Donora, you drive around our business district. That's the number one problem. We got to make sure we pick up traffic in the downtown area. And if it's not going to work that way, then we got to come up with new, innovative ways to get people riding past our businesses. But we need more businesses in Donora. The number one problem that I think we have in Donora is the divide of the people. You can't put on an event because people won't go because you're tied to this one, you're tied to that one. People need to put their differences aside and work for the betterment of Donora as a whole. You're not there for a person. You're not there to try to get somebody up politically. You're trying to make our town better. I think that's something we really need to work on. People need to really just swallow their pride sometimes and say, hey, I'm going to go there and help them out, and do what's best for the town. We need to start putting Donora first. I think that would make a really big difference on everything as a whole. When people come together, things get done. When we argue, we fight, we're at each other all the time, nothing's getting done. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you can't agree on something, you're not going to spend it. So that's not, the divide in the people is a huge problem that I think, and we need to do a better job as networking as a borough. We need to have our senators, our state reps, our county officials. We need to get out there and network with them to be able to pick up the phone sometimes and call and say, I got this issue. Help me out. What can we do? And they'll put you in contact with somebody else. Networking is a huge part of the political arena, because then you have people you could go to who will give you ideas or point you in the right direction to get things done. So at the end of the day, that's all we should be trying to do is to accomplish something for the betterment of Donora. So I think those are three areas we need to work on. There's more, but those are probably the three most important to me.
In closing, are there any remarks that you'd like to share with the community?
Like Gibb said, we definitely have to work better together. There is a lot of animosity between sides in Donora, which is very noticeable, and that does have to get put to the wayside. Because if we're going to build Donora, and we're going to build it back, and we want it to be better than it was in the past, it is going to be a group effort. It is going to be an effort that all the citizens are going to have to take. It's small things. Something as simple as picking up garbage off of a sidewalk in front of your house, it might seem so trivial, but if everybody did it, we would have beautiful streets. And that's all it takes is just an effort, So having an effort like that on a citywide or borough-wide level is what it's going to take to reestablish Donora. I think it can be done. I'm very, very positive in the fact that it can be done here. I've talked to a number of people who are want to get involved. They want to be part of Donora, and they just don't know how. And it's they feel it's unwelcoming. But I think in the future that's going to change, because we have to. If we don't do it now, then what do we have? We're not going to have a Donora. So we have to, if we want to go on, we want to have a future, we have to build a future, and we have to have goals. We have to actually set goals and work towards them. But I think it can be done. I do.
One thing I would like to touch on in closing is, since I got on in June, I've been in charge of the finance chair. And finance is really important to me because I spend money in the borough like I spend money in my home. It's just how I am. I don't mind spending money, but I can't stand wasting money. So since last June, a couple of things that we have been able to purchase since I've been on, we got a brand new mini excavator for the street crew, a brand new head cutter, the attachment for the mini excavator to cut down weeds. We've got a brand new 550 dump for the street crew. We've got a brand new police car. We gave $75,000 to the fire department for the fitting of 4 new firefighters that came on to volunteer for our fire department. So we were able to get them suited up. Those are some of the things that I've been able to do since I got on. We have been able to do as a council as a whole. But those are some things that we're proud of because people want to say, well, we don't have money. We don't have money. We do have money. We're actually about 55,000 in the good this year for the budget. We have 55,000 more revenue than we do expenditures this year, even with all the extra unforeseen expenses we've had this year. We're still $55,000 in the good. As of the end of October, we're sitting on about $1.93 million cash in hand. That's general fund. That's not dedicated fund. There's a sewer maintenance fund that has $620,000 in it by itself. That's dedicated. That cannot be used for general purposes. But that's how much we're sitting on right now. And people want to say that, people are stealing money. There has been zero, let me repeat again, zero cases of anybody taking anything in the borough. Since I've been in 2016, we have never come across any audit that said anybody is stealing any money. Now, we've had some things we had to clean up since I've been on in 16, but we have never had any cases of stolen money coming out of the general fund ever before. So that's just a couple things I want to clear up, but I think that Donora is right on the verge of turning the bend, personally. People ask me all the time, why you want to get involved? Why not? If not me, who else is going to do it? At the end of the day, somebody has to step up and say, we love this town. We're going to do what's right for this town, no matter what the cost. In order sometimes to sacrifice things, it comes at a cost. And at the end of the day is, I love this town. I love the people in this town, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to make this town better every day. If it takes a sign on 3rd Street, then it takes a sign on 3rd Street, but no. Hey, that's what we do it for. So that's all I got.
Well, thank you guys for being here today, and hopefully this will help all the citizens of Donora feel more informed.